we know what Freemasonry is, and we know what Freemasonry is. This is the anti-church. Exactly the opposite of what Christ founded his Holy Church. This is the exact opposite. So the church of the enemy of God, and specifically of Christ. They present themselves, we are not against religion. Of course, they are not against religion. But they are against the uniqueness and exclusivity of Jesus Christ and his Holy Church, against divine revelation. And therefore, of course, every clever and cunning enemy will try to eliminate, to destroy his enemy. And the church is, the Freemasonry declared since the beginnings of their work and existence, always the Catholic Church as the greatest and as the enemy par excellence. We have several affirmations from high-ranking Freemasons all over the history of the church. You cannot deny this. This is not a theory of conspiracy. It would be ridiculous. It is their facts and proofs, and therefore, but the most efficient means in strategy to damage, to harm your enemy, is to penetrate inside this. Like a virus in our body who is destroying the immunity of our body and the health. And so they did this. First they started to fight directly against the church during the French Revolution. It was a demonstration. And then during different moments in the church and in European history and in Latin America, substantially there were Freemasonic governments. And then they used a tool in a very wide scale to fight against Christ. It was the Communist October Revolution. It is proven with documents that they gave logistic, financial, and other support to Freemasons in Europe to do the October Revolution in Russia. And the first and Lenin himself was member of several Freemasonic lodges in Europe, and his close collaborators, all by names, were the mostly of them were Jewish Freemasons, Russian Jewish Freemasons. And so this is proven. And so they used this tool to fight against Christ and the church, and we witnessed the 70 years of the war of the communist dictatorships in Russia and in the Warsaw Bloc countries against the church. And now they made the next more clever and cunning path. Maybe they did this also already in a parallel form, to penetrate inside the church. And they did this since the 19th century. We have some signs and some indications. The famous document of the Alta Vendita, it is known, it is a document. And then, of course, they penetrated in the seminaries, in the faculties, with their liberal ideas. And this is the relativism. There is no stable and immutable truth. This is the core of Freemasonic ideology, that we, human being, is the author of truth and can change this to his desires. And so it is the core of the modernism, of the thinking, the relativism, and the completely naturalism, anthropocentrism. And Freemasonry is, by definition, naturalism. It's completely anti-supernatural, anti-revelation. And so we see the same marks. It's not, I will not say that the modernists were Freemasons, but the shape of thinking were very similar. They were contaminated by this manner of thinking. And since then, the modernist movement in the church penetrated ever more and reached their, how do you say? I would say they reached their peak at the Second Vatican Council, because they used this church assembly as a tool to promote ever more their relativistic, anthropocentristic, naturalistic theories in the theology, in the liturgy, in the life of the church, in the pastoral life. And so we have already this. And after the council, they managed, the modernists, and partly also, we cannot exclude these partly also true members of Freemasonry who got high-ranking positions in the church.
Like a Bugnini, perhaps.
Yes, and others who were hidden, maybe. This was a parallel. Other simply modernists who were not linked with Freemasonry, but they were thinking in a similar way, this naturalistic, relativistic mode. And so, already convinced Freemasons in the ranks of the episcopacy and the cardinals, and other, maybe even nuncios. And they, of course, helped the modernist clergy who were not Freemasonic, but they are similar thinking. They promoted them to high positions of the church. And so it is evident that this is a strategy, and now we have, with this pontificate, we are witnessing how, without blunting, without shame, real, evident heretics, deniers of the Catholic truth, are not only promoted to high-ranking church offices, but they are in some way even given a reward and for their betrayal of Christ, of their promoting of the spirit of this world in the church.